Hello and welcome to HackerRank TV. This is your host Adil Bandukwala. Today's challenging environment requires business leaders to hone their edge in three critical areas: insights, commitment, and execution. The best leaders today and companies are ambidextrous, prudent about managing the downside while aggressively pursuing that upside. Times are challenging today, much like how building a new company in the recession of 2007 was no ordinary task. Yet, with passion, foresight, and a customer centric focus, a company called InMobi charted their course, helping transform the way consumers engage with their phones and create today's booming app economy, wherein consumers now spend 4.2 hours per day on average. After 15 years of innovation, InMobi's advertising platform powers customers' growth by helping them engage their audiences and drive real connections. Their affiliated consumer businesses, Glance and Reposo, are redefining the way people interact with mobile and CTV services by providing unique and often live entertainment and shopping opportunities. Today, we're super excited to have with us Mohit Saxena, co-founder and Group CTO in InMobi Group. Before InMobi, Mohit managed technology operations at Virgin Mobile, designing and deploying their postpaid billing system and their prepaid revenue recognition system. Mohit earlier worked with AT&T and has contributed to many patents filed in the telecommunications area. Fascinated by small ideas that turned into global powerhouses and innovations, simplicity and the potential of technology have always been his passions. InMobi is both a passion and a dream come true for Mohit. Mohit, welcome to HackerRank TV, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Adil. Thank you for having me here.
I see lots of people are tuning in, Mohit. The demand for this session has been off the roof. Why don't we go ahead and say hello to a few of them? So, guys, I'm featuring you all on screen. Welcome. Thank you for being patient with us. Thank you for bearing us. Amrit, welcome to HackerRank TV. Ravi Teja, welcome to HackerRank TV. Fabio Souza, glad to see you could join us today. Maheshwar, thanks for making it. Lovely seeing you. Chetan Kumar, good to see you. Nivedita, good to see you here as well. Sneha, thanks for making the time. Charles, good to see you. So all of you, wherever you're from, go ahead and drop us a comment, whether you're tuning in from Bombay, Bangalore, San Francisco, Colombo, Paris, London, wherever you're tuned in from, drop us a comment and we'll feature them on screen so that Mohit and Hari have some sense of where all the audience for this particular live stream is tuned in from. With that, while you are dropping your comments, and I'll feature them soon, let's also welcome Hari Shankar Karunanidhi, co-founder and CTO of HackerRank, the technology hiring platform that is the standard for assessing developer skills for over 3,000 plus companies around the world. Prior to HackerRank, Hari has had technology stints with IBM and Novell in Bangalore. Hari, thank you for joining us as always. 9:30 p.m. You're still in office. Good to see you.
Thanks, Adil. It's good to see you in office in the other room there. Excited for the event.
Yeah, it's because HackerRank is fully remote. I get to come to office when we are having one of these live streams, and I don't want to miss the chance. The chai in our office is really good. But anyways, thank you, Hari, and I'm going to go ahead and get started with our theme for today, which is building InMobi from India for the world with their co-founder and group CTO Mohit. Mohit, you started InMobi during the recession of 2007. Three things: your passion, foresight, and customer-centric focus. These things helped InMobi flourish as a booming tech company, and in 2011 became India's first unicorn startup. Can you tell us more about how InMobi has evolved and adapted to changing market conditions and tech advancements over these years? We'd love to get a backstory.
So I think, the story of InMobi is I met Naveen in US over here, and I saw his passion and his motivation of basically going back to India and doing something, where we can be known for product and tech companies. India at that point of time, and especially to some extent even now, but it has changed completely. We were known for being a good back office service country. IT was always big, and Y2K really basically helped establish India as one of the most powerful IT nation. But at the same point of time, I think our presence during that time on the product and tech side was very low. And we had an inkling, or rather, a great desire to basically change that perspective. And with that, we came back to India. and and that philosophy is quite important because in many startup you can start with an idea, but it's not necessarily that 6 months down the line that idea will work. And I think I'll cover that part later. But one thing, our goal and our vision was always to create a great and product and tech company that could compete with the similar kind of peers or even bigger peers outside of the world. And we started with that notion. So when you have that kind of philosophy, I think you think differently. I was very clear that what kind of at least vision in my mind. I think that I need one of the greatest team assembled in this part of the world. And that's why I remember, we started with Bangalore. The initial idea was M-Coach, which actually didn't work. But since our overall philosophy of building a great product and tech company was there, so very quickly we were able to pivot to something else, and we tried the other part. And we started initially building an engineering team in Mumbai. And I realized, at least at that point of time, and I know things may have changed completely, but I was not finding the right focus and rather right level of basically a skill set to build a great company. The exposure was missing. So within 9 months, I moved to Bangalore, and I thought, if I want to do a great product and tech company, I came to Bangalore, and that's where it happened. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing that you have to come to one city to make that happen. But I think everything has changed now. India has 6 and 7 center where you can get the equal amount of skill set. But the key over here is, in startup, founders need to have a short-term vision, which is basically what I want to do in few days, and then a uber objective. Why do you exist? What is the reason for you to be there? And if that reason is long term, so think about it. If I want to be one of the best product and tech company from India, I can keep on going for 300, 400 years. Once we all are gone, you keep doing things which are making sense and which are relevant, and that philosophy will remain same while everything else below it keeps changing. And I think that I believe what has been the philosophy for us. And at the same point of time, right from the beginning, we were very okay to change things. We were very disruptive, very innovative. If something was not working, we were not falling in love with those ideas. Just kill it, move on, do something next. So that's the one thing. And the second part, basically, the ingredient of InMobi story is, we always believe what is going to happen in India and mobile. We knew that we completely missed the wireline revolution. I'm coming from AT&T, so I know the line is never going to be pulled to people's home. That time is gone. And at that point of time, the mobile was taking off, and that technology has all that India needed at that point of time to go to the villages and every corner. And that's why we said, hey, we are going to do something in mobile. That is our time, and this is the place where we need to be. And monetization at that point of time was completely solved for the web, and there were big players, Yahoo, Google, Microsoft, and many more. But nobody was doing mobile except one small company, and that is also in US. And but we believe that this is a completely new for this part of the world, and it needs to happen in a very different way. Our users are different, audience are different, tech stack is different. So we changed the first business model that failed, which was the SMS-based search, to mobile advertising, and that's what is InMobi, and the idea had taken off.
Thank you for taking us back in the past and giving us that quick insight about how it all started. Like you said, it all started like with an SMS-based search and monetization business, but today you've really evolved into a provider of one of the first lock screen advertising experiences with Glance. We'd love to understand, what is your perspective on like the future? You all saw this way back, but then at the same time, like, what are you crystal gazing now in terms of the future of mobile advertising, and how does InMobi intend to maintain its competitive edge? I think the world is curious to know.
So I'll tell you a little bit about the SMS model. It was great tech. We built something really solid. And actually 3 years down the line, Groupon was launched. So that was Groupon 3 years ago. The only problem was we were in wrong country at wrong place. Everyone liked the solution. Nobody was paying us. So, the thing is, if nobody's paying you and you are a startup, so eventually you need to figure out, what to do, because literally you run out of money. So that is what happened to SMS. And sometimes you feel bad if somebody started after 3 years and it became good, because people knew advertising in US and Western world quite regularly, so they were willing to spend money on it. But coming back over here, so we started with, once again, if you think mobile advertising is one part of mobile ecosystem. So once again, for us, the mobile was key, that we are going to be part of this big mobile revolution, which started from India and actually now everywhere. Western world is actually late because they had copper wire and people have phone and internet. Internet was all over the place. So mobile, what you're saying, a lot of the innovation, whether it's TikTok and Glance and all those things, is coming from there, because the way of life is mobile. People do look at our payment system. What we have done to payment is, like, people are still using credit cards and bank transfer and all those things. India, you just flash your QR code. So I believe the need is mother of all innovation. If people are uh, they don't have something that existed and people are aware of it, you do something new, and once a new medium come into the play, the new kind of ideas start to shape place, and that is what is exactly going to happen. Coming back to how InMobi and Glance come together and what may happen next is, we always believed in two things which are really important from internet. First thing, internet needs to be free. Not everyone can pay for it, and this is so vital, so incredible, that you can't put like charge to breathing. I mean, it's really, really like depriving people of information and the way of life that it is today, that it needs to be free. So what makes it free? Not everyone makes money, not everyone has money to basically keep it going. So that's where the mobile monetization is a very important part of the ecosystem. We are the people who keeps it free, because once you create an app, you advertise it, and some people become publisher, and you figure out a way how to basically people make money while doing these. So that's one part of it. And the second part is content needs to be informative, engaging, and it should add value to users life. And that is really what is the philosophy of Glance, where, hey, we are on lock screen, people have time to kill, they are on train for 1 hour, or they are doing something, whatever, they just want to pass time. Can I just be useful to them? Maybe some sports team they are following, I can give them the latest score, whether it's cricket, soccer, or anything that they are interested in playing. Some interesting findings, some interesting discovery, or entertainment, or something like that. So that's where the Glance philosophy come into play. And if you think they sit side by side, and they're so complementary to each other. On one side, you're trying to give you get the useful content, and at the same point of time, what can you do to keep these content free where people can enjoy it? So that's how it happens. So these are the two clear adjacencies that we could see right away, and I'm pretty sure there could be more which can come later in the life.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Mohit. A lot of people tuning in, Mohit. I thought we'd just say quick hellos to a few people. So we've got Jose, who's tuned in from Mexico. Thanks for joining in, Jose. We've got Doris, who's coming in from Ghana. We've got lots of people from Bangalore, India, which is crazy, and all parts of India. But then we also have Luis from Brazil. And then we've got Arguito from Mozambique. We've got Faith from South Africa. We've got Habib from Nigeria. We've got someone from the United States. We've got someone from Pakistan. Deepak is tuned in from Germany all the way. Ivan's in California. There's someone from Louisiana. There's someone from Meerut. There's someone from Bihar, Vijayawada. You've got UK. You've got Los Angeles. And then Sofia, Bulgaria as well. So it's insane. Thank you to everyone, wherever you're tuning in from. I unfortunately can't feature everyone. The list of comments is endless, but keep those coming in. I'll try and feature as many as I can. And if you have any questions you would like to ask Mohit in particular, put those in as comments wherever you're tuning in from. And as soon as I get those, I'll try and flash those to Mohit, and we'll try and get his answers. So whatever questions you have for Mohit, this is your chance to ask him. Put those in comments wherever you're tuning in from, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. Once we get them here, I'll try and flash them on screen. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Hari, because I know you've got a lot of questions to ask to Hari.
Yes, thanks, Adil. And Mohit, my first question is when you're pivoting from your mobile search to the mobile advertisement and entering into an advertisement market, which already had billion-dollar giants like your Facebook and Google, and they had this significant scaling capabilities established. You name it, they had it. How did you manage to establish your company's distinct identity? Because InMobi always had that uniqueness in terms of even tech, in terms of brand, and how did you evolve? How did you manage to carve out that market space as well? You did say that for the mobile search, you had a great tech. Was tech the core differentiator even in the mobile advertising part as well? How did tech play out in this whole part?
So I think tech was pretty fundamental right from the day one. I guess I think we knew that this is all going to be uh, a tech game. There's nothing, and in fact, to be honest, uh, 10 years down the line, even now, I don't think any startup can survive if you don't have a great product and great tech. 10 years, 15 years ago, it was one part of it. That it needs to happen. And yes, I do agree that you need to have sales, business, and all that strategy. But end of the day, what is the core and fundamental to any company is product and tech. And tech is one area where you can really create a differentiation. A differentiation could be anything. Whether I can create something very complex that is very hard to replicate, or I can do things faster than anyone. I'm so nimble, I'm so agile that I can launch things very quickly, and people will play always catch up game. Last but not least is basically, I'm so robust, I'm so, the machinery is so strong that I'll continue to do that. If you think about Google, I think anyone search is now open source. Everyone use some way, shape and form Lucene in their some their code or something. But doing at that scale and doing at that level, where anything it gets in the indexing or listing in just few seconds and you can see all that, is just not possible. I mean, it's just, the amount of money, and even if you have the money, how will you get so many engineers? That machinery is now so big. So that is basically the kind of advantage sometimes you get with the tech. What our advantage was, let's hire as smart people as we can, who are very agile, who are very nimble, because at this point of time we didn't know what 3 or 4 year game looks like. But initially I knew that we will be trying out multiple things. We need to be fast, and we need to be good at what we are doing, and really world class engineering and product has to happen in our product, because our consumer was outside of India, in Europe and US. So we started hiring some best people, and I have people from Google and Yahoo, so they already came trained. So a lot of credit goes to those initial engineers who joined us. So I think first 10 hire, I always believe, is make and break for any startup. So who are your first 10 engineers are going to be extremely crucial if people are working on startup.
Got it. So the core or the primary differentiator one is being nimble and the velocity with which you can ship out things. When one follow-up question on that, like it's always we talk about at the early stage you can move so much fast. Like, how fast is fast? Like, do you remember any? Now, if you look back, you may look at it as a crazy story. Like, we can't believe we shipped out this in one night or a couple of hours. This developer just sat all night and shipped this to production. Is there any stories from that time from InMobi which comes to you, which feels like, oh, we did this amazing fast, which nobody else could have done at that time?
So one liner is basically when you are running in a jungle, all you need is basically just be ahead of the last guy. But unfortunately, the problem is that race never ends, because once the last guy is on, then you are last. So once again, you need to run fast and you need to beat one more guy. So it's like a never-ending race. But I think, I also just want to be very cautious about this word shift fast, because I'm also an engineer, and I am not asking engineers, or I'm not asking founders, especially CTOs, and even you play that role. Shift fast doesn't mean you ship something that is crappy. It is just breaking all the time, or it is just creating, because that can actually could be a death knell to your business initial days. If your code never works, I don't know how many of you remember when we launched. Twitter was very new at that point of time. There used to be blue whale because they were down so much. So there was a website to tell you that if Twitter is up or down. And I remember, and I know they got a new CTO, and it took 1 year for him to basically fix it. And even in Facebook, they used to very proudly call shift fast, break things. And after 2014, they changed that, because you just can't shift fast and break things. It needs to work as well. So that balance was quite important. And unfortunately for us also, we were shipping fast and things were breaking. For 1 year, 1.5 year, things were breaking quite a lot. And I remember, I think, our traffic used to be, let's say, X, and all of a sudden a big publisher joined our platform. I think it was a December of it was a New Year night on 2009, and all of a sudden his traffic was all the traffic that we have multiplied by 20 times, and all of our server went down. And I thought, what happened? We had like 130% of planning or 140% of planning. What is happening? And this guy was just sending us so much traffic that it just stalled completely. And overnight, I remember wherever we were, we had to come to office, and we had to put some new machine. And at that time point, cloud and all was not there. We were in actually literally data center, and arranging machine and putting them into the network and all was a nightmare. Next morning, we were in the office. We were in that data center to putting those machines and those things in place. Scalability at this point of time is just just launching some VMs. So I think a lot goes over there. So whenever I say shift fast, we need to make sure that it works. So that consideration is quite important, and that really what separates uh, bad engineers to good engineers to great engineers. Because for great engineers, the stability, performance, benchmarking, unit testing is never an afterthought. Their code is always rock solid. So when I write, I have the discipline to do things, and I know where it failed and what needs to be tested, and they define it that way. So that's what it is. But yes, I think the biggest weapon any startup can have, any small, is for us like so we are like mosquito fighting with an elephant. You can't go head on. You can just take some bites here and there, and get some blood in between. So you keep doing that until you get bigger and bigger. Where do you see the opportunity, and can I do it in 3 days or 3 weeks or even 3 months? What people can take years, and we kept on finding those places and kept on building those products.
Got it. Got it. Thanks for that story. It's surprising to see how that month and year is etched in your mind, and the people who fix that, this becomes an amazing, let's say, dinner conversation every time when you want to talk about how you started. My next question is on, I wanted to, AI is the buzzword now, and has revolutionized multiple sectors, and even mobile advertising is no stranger to it. How do you see the future of data science, machine learning, AI in mobile advertising industry, and how is InMobi positioning itself for the future? Like, what do you envision with all the new things which is happening right now? How do you think the whole mobile advertising industry would change into?
So it's funny, and I think now everyone is saying about AI. I mean, you go to places, they will put AI, and I think it's nothing new. It's the uh, flavor of the season that is going on. But my point is, the importance of AI and machine learning is not from today. I mean, IBM has been working on machines and computing, and basically they are looking at this machine learning and data science problem in 1970s when most of us were not born. Uh, and it takes that kind of commitment, for the industry, 50 years, putting it in something which they have seen that is going to be so useful and so important for general masses. In my opinion, that is really, those are the people who are really visionary, and we are just here to reap that gift, basically just take it and use it. So what you are seeing now is basically it has just evolved. It's like in 1900 when Ford built first motor car, and what we are seeing Tesla. We can't say Tesla has changed everything. Ford has changed. Ford created that car, which is now basically, is every country is doing and everything is doing. Everyone is building, and it's quite obvious that when you are fighting for fossil fuel and all, some other medium will come into play, and always and definitely, like any other product, someone will do it better than anyone else. Will be faster in doing it, and that is actually Tesla. But they will revolutionize the whole industry, and then you'll see now everyone will be building EV. So for me, AI, I think, was important even in 2000, early 2000. Not everyone was capable of doing it. It was not that common, and people didn't have tool, or it was very expensive to do that. Even for us, I remember we invested in building a very comprehensive machine learning system in 2011. I hired a lot of engineers from Yahoo, bunch of engineers who were working on Hadoop. Yeah, and our data was growing all across the globe, and we wanted to build a very complex federated machine learning system, where I can process data in every small country and then put it together and then fan out the knowledge once again back to all those places. and I looked at all the solution. The cloud was not there. Nobody will build a federated Hadoop system. So I hired this 50, 60 bunch of good engineer at Yahoo, which were doing nothing over there. And they were just really at a level where they could build anything. I threw this challenge and problem to them. They all loved it and they built it. We built it in 2 years, and we ran one of the most awesome, uh, uh, data platform that I have seen yet to see, at least at many places. And it was rivaling Facebook, Google. Google didn't never use Hadoop, but it was better than what Yahoo had, Facebook and Twitter. Anyone, LinkedIn, anyone who was using, I think we were right up there. And we actually ended up creating 3 4 main code base branch in Apache, from Falcon, Lens, and everything else. So it's all about how big your goal can be. What we are seeing right now is, now AI is not in the shadow. It's not a technology that only few advanced company can use it. This is going to be part of life, because it is going to make some companies so powerful, so efficient, so nimble that you won't be able to compete. So everyone has to have a philosophy, vision, or goal that how AI is going to be utilized in their game. So everyone need to go back to the whiteboard and see what it can do for them. AI is also very important. You also have to find out, you can't use sword and needle to solve the same problem. They are for two different things. So I think for leadership, it will be a very important de- decision and challenge to make, that where I want to use AI, because there are some problems you better off doing something else as well. But yes, you can't ignore it, you can't live without it, and you cannot use AI and win the game. It's all going to be about thinking like humans and making those decisions, and let machine do a lot of those work for you. So I think it is the way I see it. I gave you car example, Tesla 10 years ago. People are curious, people are seeing, everyone wants to do something, but nobody knows how to do it. Too many problems, battery performance and all those things. So everyone needs to basically retest and see those things. But one thing I'm pretty sure, if any company is not thinking about it, not deploying AI in their life, I think they will be obsolete in less than 1 year or 2 year max.
That's a good way to put that. Like, this is the similar thing when companies were not adopting tech, and
Yeah.
then there is this, every company is a tech company, or software is going to eat the world. Now it looks like there's another cycle with that, where every company should adopt AI, otherwise you're gonna get obsolete. That's a
Yeah.
good way to put that. um, the next one is connected with your current role, and InMobi has a subsidiary company named Glance, which is a consumer internet company, and Glance in turn owns Personal, again a social media platform for video sharing. And this makes you the group CTO at InMobi. And not a lot, there might be more CTOs listening to this, but I'm pretty sure the probability of a group CTO is less. Like, first off, what's how does your the time you spend, the attention, and what's the difference between a CTO and group CTO, and how has that changed the time you spend? Second part of this is, how do you ensure that all the products receive that significant amount of attention and resources, so that innovation is the top priority for all the areas you focus on?
So I think, so first of all, I think the job of a founder and the leader in any shape and format is basically hire people who are better than you. So
Mhm.
as soon as you become leader, as soon as you become founder, I think there should be one goal in your head, is how soon I can hire people who are better than me, so that he can take this vision and company beyond that what I can see. And it's a never ending race. You just kept on going that. So basically, and InMobi is quite notorious in growing people from inside. So we are two unit, which is advertising and the Glance, and both CTO came from the ground up. So these are the people who I hired from Yahoo. When Yahoo was blowing up the talent, I was hiring them. And at that point of time, we were a known small company. And my only argument to these two people was, hey, work with me. I will teach you things that one day you will be CTO. And today they are CTO, and they are running to really big business. So one of the guy I hired almost 14 years ago, as long as the InMobi exists, he was like one of my first engineer, and very smart, AJ, he runs, glance business, and the other CTO that we have is Prasanna. And I wanted to burn down my ad serving business, ad serving platform at that point of time, because I knew that there's a lot of legacy and it's just going downhill. And sometimes, you just can't fix it. You just make something completely new, completely different, which is ready for next 10 years. And at that point of time, I wanted someone from outside who can bring a completely new perspective. And that's when I hired him. So they both are here. We had great chemistry because we have been working together and being a part of team for quite some so many years. I think we have spent more times with each other than maybe our better halves and other people. So it's all about deciding and complementing each other and just breaking up the responsibility. So I don't do day-to-day execution. I don't do basically even quarterly is not my worry. They are on top of all those things. But my job is like a catch-all exceptions. What are the things that they may miss out when they are so focused on delivering quarter to quarter and basically yearly planning? And I have seen that world because you are always stretched. You are always doing 10 things. So I complement in the things that may require 2 to 3 years horizon. And once again, what is going to happen in AI? So AI is one area where I'll continue to work. I'll continue to needle them. What are you doing? What are you thinking? And then basically ask question and help them to get to the right answer. They have all the answer. It's just basically, the question needs to be asked consistently so that you arrive to the place where it is perfect. Same thing, how they're looking at the infrastructure, how they are looking at upskilling their team, because you have these 300 people and maybe 10 or 20 are really good at AI, or the rest of the team is not at a level where you need them to be. So what are you going to do? How you're going to train them? So I work on areas basically where that are getting missed out on day-to-day execution, or something that are going to have a very big impact 1 year, 2 year, 3 year down the line. So you really divide your work between long term and short term. And yes, you sort of play a catch-all exception if something is falling apart, or something where I can jump in and help them. Yeah.
Got it. Two interesting takeaways from that for sure. Like, hire people smarter than you, and the catch-all exception model is very easy for our viewers to understand. Like, so there is a CTO one catching some exceptions. And see, I can imagine the code where Mohit sits as the default exception catch, which just catches for every single exception which is not caught earlier. That's a pretty good mental model you put in, saying anything and everything, but after it is passed through them, like they are the first people who are going to solve that.
I'll tell you something very funny. Just remind me, because you put it this way. So long time back, we used to have these lot of cron jobs. For scheduling, you go onto we were running HP Unix machine at that point of time. So you go to these init file and you put those cron jobs. And I remember basically the highest level of catastrophic failure. I have written some cron job, and subject of those mail was Hail Mary. And whenever you see those mail, basically something has gone terribly wrong, because if they are triggering that nothing has caught them, and now everything is gone. So I remember last time I received Hail Mary mail was, I think, 2012. So I think that's a good way to put it. To show to everyone that I did actually hire engineers better than me, because there's no Hail Mary coming to me since 2012, and we are 10 years, fast forward 10 years now in 2023. So that's a good way of measuring that, whether you are able to hire good engineers or not.
That's an interesting measure. I don't know if the internal tools can build such a feature, whether because there is always this, how do we measure our hiring capability, hiring performance? This looks like a unique way. Cool. So the next one, again, of the tech stack and pretty much focusing on the performance. Today, I think we can say that it's mobile devices are the primary factor through which we access the internet. We are on it many times than the amount of time we are spending in front of say a laptop or a desktop. And performance matters so much. People expect a smooth and seamless experience, and that's table stakes, right? Like At least when I think of desktop, we used to think of like there are few hundred to up to 1 second is okay. And mobile, all of that factors tuned down by 50% or even more. Like the performance expectation when you're on mobile is much higher. So can you walk us through some of the strategies and processes that InMobi has implemented to ensure performance and efficiency of the tech stack on the mobile devices?
Yeah, I think mobile devices are very unforgiving, and the latency is one of the biggest problem I think the company are going to face. And for us, basically, 10 millisecond is eternity. It's just too much. If something and basically a company like InMobi or any other product companies, for example, in our ad business, if I don't respond back in less than 10 millisecond, then somebody else will win that bid, and that's a lost opportunity or revenue for us. And 10 millisecond is basically from my as soon as I see the request, how soon I respond back. From network to network, basically from location to location, even if you put whole TCP IP routing when you are making a call to a partner or something, still this number cannot go beyond 60 to 100 milliseconds. So it's you literally have no time. So high performance and latency is right from the get go, and that's why I cannot emphasize more on having good engineers, because when you're writing these code, a lot of people, the performance is never a criteria as long as it's doing the job. So functional accuracy is not enough in mobile. You need to have speed, you need to have performance. So you need to understand distributed computing, you need to understand difference between broadcasting versus parallel computing. Everything comes over there. Even you are making some AI and machine learning based decision, all these things happen in caches as well. So how you are going to load them, how you are going to spread them, how you are going to refresh them. So it requires a overall engineering when you are planning those kind of systems. So but the good thing for us, and I think I don't know whether I said it earlier or not. I think when you are competing with really big competitor, I think it's very difficult, because 9 out of 10 times you will die, because they will be very strong and they will be doing things better than you. But if you survive, then I think you will be so good that there'll be no difference between them and you. You will be able to do things the way they do it. So I remember we had only one small competitor in 2009. The company used to call AdMob, and I was very clear that I think in 1 year I will be able to do things as good as AdMob, or maybe I'll be better than them. They were in US base and we were in Bangalore, but I knew Bangalore has no shortage of having good engineers, so I will beat this company. I was very confident. But I think within 2009 or something, Google bought them. And then everything changed. Oh, now they have Google. So but at the same point in time, one way is that we could have been heartbroken, frustrated. Hey, how I'm going to win it? And you just lay down your arms. But we said no. I think there is an opportunity, because I think the company is going to go through integration pain for at least 1 or 2 years. And we knew, Google being Google, they would not like their system and they will change completely. So whenever you integrate and you make those changes, it takes time. You don't grow. You actually spend more time in integration. So we have that sweet period where we need to just go and get as good as possible, so that when Google takes over, we are as good as Google. So we kept on building things. We kept on getting better. At that point of time, I remember I was hiring engineer because I wanted to set up 7 data center in 7 continents. One in Hong Kong, one in Japan, one in Europe, two in North America, one in LATAM. And nobody knew how to do it. No company in India ever set up 7 data center in 7 continent and connecting them the way I wanted to connect them, because wherever the user is, I wanted to send the traffic the way Google DNS used to do. Like search happens instantly. So and even I didn't know. I had the vague idea. I was coming from a telecom background, so I knew the networking and routing and everything, but I never did this myself. But we had a great team, 15, 20 people, and we did it together. So by the time it just came in 2011, 12, we were already our engineering was already at that level. So the thing is, I'm not scared of the problem, and no engineer should be scared of the problem. The biggest problem of human mind is basically our own prison that we build over here, that I can't do it. There is nothing that you can't do it. We use less than 10% of our ability. So imagine if we can learn even to make use of 1% more. I think it will be a completely different world for all of us. So most of the engineer, I think they come and they say it's too hard or I won't be able to do it. And I completely disagree with that notion. There is nothing that you come to me and say you can't do it. We will do it, and either you will do it, we'll do it together, or I'll keep on finding the guy who helped me do it. So I think with that, you can always continue to compete with the big names rather than worried or scared about it. Just read about them, learn about them. How do they do it? What are the things that they do differently that you are not? And I have no doubt that you'll be able to do similar kind of system.
That's amazing. That's truly inspiring, and the way you even approach the problem, and the fact that there is some solution, and whatever it takes to find it, I'm going to go ahead and find it. That's pretty interesting, and gives an insight of how you approach all the problems which when it comes to building a company. Cool. I don't know if Adil, I have one last question. I know you're waiting for some more questions from your end too. And this is actually looking back at the entire 16 years and how fast tech industry and the whole tech ecosystem evolves, right? It can be challenging for any company to stay relevant and stay ahead of the curve. There was way back we had think of it as the entire front end ecosystem evolved a lot. Gone are the days they're just writing native JavaScript or jQuery. Today it's all React and Angular. And same way, even in mobile, things have changed across multiple years. I don't know if we have completely moved, like now it's Kotlin or even React natives rather than the Java apps or the J2ME apps kind of thing we used to have, which works with the Sun UI. So with so many technologies appearing and disappearing over the years, like how has InMobi been able to navigate this whole landscape and still consistently have new innovative things? It's not like it's the same stuff. There are new innovative stuff. So how do you catch up and also still ensure that you're staying strong on the ground?
Look, I think this part of the tech will never change. Thing will completely continue to evolve. And I'm from a dinosaur generation. I started working on Wax VMS server. Wax VMS system. I don't know if anyone even heard, DEC Alpha server. And those used to be very stable, mean machine. They were very much like Sun. The programming used to be like that. And there was no, we used to write our database program in Pro-C. I don't know if anyone knows even Pro-C. It's the SQL injected in a C library, and that's how you used to interact with Oracle and other database. Now we have no SQL and all. So I think if you see it's the evolution, things will continue to evolve. And why do you see even, in today's world, you're talking about React and Kotlin and all? Because earlier, the Android and iOS development, it used to be completely different. The way you make website, the way you make mobile site and native app and all those things were completely different. But now tech is there. Where I can create one interface that will work in any kind of surface, because it doesn't, it's the aesthetic can adjust to the screen type. So you write, a lot of companies, they have switched to React already, because now I don't need to build two different website and system and all that. And I think it's great. There are still some features that you can do when you are doing native programming and you want to continue and you want to push those the real capability of mobile. But I think so for engineers, I would say when you make decision, have three things in your mind. One thing is basically which is very important right now. In computer, it was not that I won't say it was not important in computer, but you were always doing the navigation using your mouse. So either you can go left or right, up and down, or click. But in phone, you are on a surface, you can go all over the place. Swipe here, swipe there, swipe up, down, touch here, touch there. So the gesture are going to be completely different. So when you think about UX and UI, it needs to be very simple. It needs to be very intuitive. If you have to write a book for people to understand how to use your product, you'll be dead in 3 months. So I mean, they just open up the app and they should know what to do over here. So engineering work is not just writing the code, but also understanding the human interaction, how they are going to interact it. And whatever is the new language and medium that you want to use, whether you want to use Kotlin, React, and anything, and Swift for that matter, You do that because what works best for you. That's one thing. And then the next part comes the backend, which I was telling you. People cannot wait. On mobile phone, they will just switch. In 3 milliseconds or 1 second, they're gone. They come to other place. So everything is instant. So that's how you design the system. You figure out your caching, you figure out your interaction, where if user is expecting something, it just happens. And you will see a drastic uptake in the app that are fast versus app that are slow. They just keep going back into the thing itself. The last thing is basically changing the stack, keeping it updated is a never ending race. It will continue to go in the tech organization. But I have a rule, or basically not a rule, but a suggestion that I can tell to everyone. Always have your top 3 priorities. You can't solve 10 problems, 100 problems. You can't. You'll be bad in all of them. But you can always solve top 3 problem, and that list goes on. So you prioritize them, and you do not sleep until you fix first top 3 problems. Once you are done, the next 3 will come up. So once you have that kind of brutal prioritization, I think you will be very clear where I'm going to put my hands on, and the list goes on. For me, top 3 could be completely different. For the 2 CTO, the top 3 could be different, and for their team, it could be different. But so together we are working on 100 problem, but my problem and their problem are different, so that we can manage time in between.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. Thanks for the detailed answer. That's very helpful. Adil, over to you. I won't take any more time. I know you have a bunch of questions from users, and you have your questions of your own. So go ahead.
Hey, thank you, Hari. So, Mohit, I'm going to try and combine a few questions that are coming from the audience, and we'll try and take them because there are lots of them who kind of are asking things on the same lines. So, one of the most popular questions that has come in is, what is life like for techies and developers at InMobi?
Adi, so by the way, I don't know if many people know, I think engineers are one of the most creative people on earth. And I will just want to take the liberty of showing you something. So you see something, the background, you must be swinging some knobs and all. This is actually my DJ console. So I'm a full-fledged DJ, because when COVID was going on and everybody was, like everyone, I was losing people in my hometown and all, and it was quite sad. And I didn't know what to do. But at that point of time, I realized, music was always my passion. And the pandemic gave me time to basically go back to my passion and basically just pick it up. And I started picking it up. And I'm a full-fledged professional DJ. When I come to Bangalore, I play in certain clubs. I do have a YouTube channel, and I mix EDM and, so that's what InMobi is. We want our people, because just coding is not life. This is just one part of the things that you do and you're good at it. What is very important is basically having the spark of creativity in your mind alive. And you can have any passion you want. You will be good at some sport. You ride bicycle, you ride your bike, or you do something. My point is, don't compromise with life, work, and all those things that will continue to go on. And in my opinion, you'll be good at work if you are fresh in your mind and if you are happy internally. So at InMobi, in fact, we invest in so much. We have an in-house counselor. We have an in-house mental coach. We have people basically where anyone can go and talk, hey, this is what I'm going through and what should I do. And I think the best thing that has helped people basically becoming mental tough, or able to deal with some kind of any kind of adversity in life, is basically having to see things in right perspective and not lose hope and the creativity that is inside them. So that is really what InMobi is about. We are two-faced individual. We are very good at what we do. We are good engineers, and at the same point of time, we are very talented. We are musicians. We are sports people, and we are influencers. Everything in house. Yeah.
I mean, that is so awesome. I was very tempted to ask you that question as soon as we joined the live stream, because I was like, that looks like a DJ console. But I don't know. I don't want to jinx it by asking Mohit. But I'm glad you showed that, because it shows, like you said, right?
This is absolutely club grade, fully professional Pioneer DJM and CDJs.
Incredible. How awesome is that, right? You got to live life also, and work is just a part of your life, not necessarily your entire life. So, very well said. So, the next question, that is again an aggregation of a lot of questions, is what is the tech stack that you've deployed today at InMobi? What all can developers and tech enthusiasts work on when experiencing life at InMobi?
So once again, we are not limited to any tech stack. I think there are so many things we do, and is lot of hybrid. In fact, we are one of the company who have tech stack in all four provider. Uh, we are a very big customer of Azure. We are a very big customer of GCP, AWS, and we actually have a very massive cloud in China on Alibaba. So we have a China full-fledged engineering team in China, one of the very few startup who are running a very successful business in China. And I actually directly work with China team. They're very solid. I mean, they're so meticulous. Sometimes I have to tell them, guys, go home. You can't sleep here, because they're so hardworking. But once again, two things when you are making those tech stack choices: don't do it for the heck of it because they look fancy or somebody's doing it. Go by the need. Sometimes you are not able to do at this place, and hey, if I have this, do not try to change and make it extremely complex if it is done easily in some other place. So I think that's the two things and rule or decision making that we apply. So as a result, we have so majority of the InMobi ad network or advertising or monetization business run on Azure, and we use all their stack over there. And majority of Glance runs on GCP. We use a lot of their, because their Vertex AI module and all those things is quite advanced. Azure is also equally good with Chat API, and Open API is now part of that. So we do that. And then yes, AWS is also basically one of the best plug and play components. So any product we launch very quick. We want to scale it very quickly. We launch over there as well. And in China, obviously Tencent and AliCloud Cloud that we use, because obviously they are better than anything else over there in that part of the world. So we have all four. It's mostly it's very simple. Perl, Python, Java is the stack that we used. On the data system side, we had a lot of heterogeneous system, but we sort of finally consolidated everything on Databricks. So that is what we use on that side. And Confluent, Kafka for moving our data across, those sort of things.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Next question is, a couple of users brought this point across, which is very interesting, where InMobi has now reached 759 million active users per month, which provides advertisers with a phenomenally large global reach. As the volume of user data processed by the platform continues to grow, how does InMobi ensure the scalability and reliability of its tech stack? Because, like a lot of startups scale, this is a problem that they experience. So how do you ensure the scalability and reliability of the tech stack to accommodate this growth, yet maintaining significantly high performance levels?
I think it's actually not a very complex problem. It's a very simple problem. And I'll tell you three things that people can do. So code never does anything what is not written. So if it's blowing up or shit is hitting the roof, it's your code. You have written something that is doing something that it's not supposed to do. So the first thing starts with, go back to your code and see why it bombed. What happened? You didn't close the loop. You are leaking memory, or you're doing something. So basically, that's the problem that we all can fix. Scalability is nothing but, actually, I will tell you a simple formula on a spreadsheet. One server can process these many requests. And if I have these many requests, how many servers I need? And if I have more number of servers, how they are going to spread out? What is the mechanism where I need to spread out? You make that equation, and then it's just whether it's 750 million, or I think we may have 1 billion user at this point in time, or even more. You just scale on based on that. Once you do that, then you will realize, hey, manual scaling is becoming too cumbersome for me. Every time I can't work on this Excel sheet. So what do? You code that Excel sheet. In the world of cloud, I can code that Excel sheet, and it is already checking. And whenever I'm reaching 80% or 85% threshold, or whatever that number is, it fans out one more EM, install the software, and add it to the cluster. So, it is as simple as that. A good engineer, they basically spend time in right. So good engineers are lazy engineers. They don't want to burn their midnight oil. They want to be up at night. So what they do is they create this logical framework and then they code the hell out of it. And once you do that, everything is working automatically. So that is what we do. So if 1 billion becomes 2 billion, it's not going to be a systematic problem. It's going to be a different problem. Then I'll see my bill and I'll say, what the hell happened? Why I paying so much? And then you will realize your traffic has gone up. So it's good to have that problem, that my bills are going up and why we are doing that. And for some other time, that is also interesting conversation, that my bills are going up, then how do I handle bills?
Awesome. That is brilliant. Now you've answered all the techie and the engineering questions. There are a couple of founder level questions that have also come our way, and I think we can take a couple of them. So one of them is from Divyang, and Divyang is saying, how did you get your startup started from 0 to 1? And how do you deal with naysayers, especially in the initial stage? So we'd love your advice for founders.
The easiest thing, as I told you, basically, every one of us is present to our own mental limitation, and when you see athlete, and I can take any example. You take example of Virat Kohli or greatest batsman, Steve Smith. I'm a very big fan of him. All these people, what they have done, all of a sudden, they are so good, they are so talented, but they don't play well. And what happened? Because it gets to them, so they lose the game mentally before even he start. And I think one more game that I want to call out, and I'm pretty sure you all must be a fan of, there are so many fan of tennis, Rafa, Nadal, we all have seen that rivalry. Beyond one set or two set, it's not physical game anymore. No, I agree that there is a physical and all those things. But my point is, your body has already given up after 2 games because their sets are brutal. It's like they're losing by 7-6 or 6-7, and it's just like crazy. Next 3 sets are nothing but mental. When the entire world, your body and everyone is telling you that it cannot be done, you can't play, you're 40-year-old, you will not win. So same thing is for the startup. Everyone around you are going to say you are not going to win. And that is going to be the default answer. And you should be okay with that. And that's why I said, only person that you have to be answerable is to yourself. And what is your mental block and what is your conviction? I'm also saying, as a startup, it is also very important to understand what is realistic and what is not, because you cannot also live in fantasy. If something cannot be done, I think in your heart, in your mind, you will figure out, okay, there is something fundamentally wrong, and this is the place where I drop it. So a startup is that fine balance when you have a conviction that it can be done. I have just not found the right way, and I'll continue until I find. And you keep going no matter what people are saying. And all I have seen in life is basically naysayers. So that's completely okay. And the other thing is basically at some point of time when I know that, I did everything, I tried everything, but it didn't happen. So it's okay. I will drop it here and then move on. So I think it's a mix of positivity, optimism, and then, the mental toughness, nothing more than that.
So there you go, Divyansh. I hope you got the answer that you were looking for and some fodder that you can use to go ahead and flourish with your next idea or business. With that, the clock is at 10:30 IST and it's time to call this a wrap. Mohit, thank you so much for coming in today. We really appreciate it. On behalf of all the developers who tuned in, a ton of them, I see already preliminary results are telling me that we had a little more than 2,000 people who tuned in live. So thank you to all of them for tuning in from different parts of the world. It was unbelievable. But huge thanks for your insights. People absolutely love those.
Thank you, guys. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation, and my best of luck to all of you. Thank you.
Yeah.